Welcome, everyone, to the very first episode of The Butterfly Effect. My name is Tali, and I'm your host and your butterfly here. I call this the butterfly effect because the theory fits perfectly with the story of this podcast. In case you don't know, the butterfly effect is a chaos theory attributed to an American mathematician and meteorologist called Edward Lorenz. The idea came to be known as the butterfly effect after Lorenz suggested that the flap of a butterfly's wings in Brazil might ultimately cause a tornado someplace else, like Texas. Okay, now back to business. This butterfly is also a founder of 1Treellion, which is an organization that supports planting of trees all over the world. Our goal, as you can pick up from the name, is to plant trillions of trees. Basically, plant our planet. Many of the work we do involve the local communities that plant the trees, maintain the trees, and rely on them for survival. We know when communities come together, many good things happen. Today, my very special guest is my partner at 1Treellion, Angella Guerra. Angela is a business leader in the biotech industry with a sound experience working worldwide. She is currently working as a European medical director at Biogen, a company leader in neuroscience. She's a chemist by training and back in her academic research days got her PhD using artificial intelligence to build productive models to optimize the drug discovery process and reduce animal testing. I know Angela well, and I can tell you she's a person with a true passion for life. She loves nature and believes in the power of human connection and creative thinking to make things happen. Angela is an action driven character when it comes to moving the needle for the common good. And I guess you can call her my wingwoman. I'm excited to have her with me on this very first episode. Hi, Angela.
Hello, Tali.
This is exciting to have you here. So, you're a scientist, and your decision to join me on this journey with 1 Trillion was based on a science research, right?
Yeah, that is true. And I think if I remember well, Tali, it was about 1 year ago this time when you called me and you let me know about this article on trees, and I was like, okay, let me take a look. And as a scientist, it's always your goal to publish something on science or nature. And when I saw this article on how trees could actually save the world, if I could say, and publishing on science, I say, okay, let's take a look, let's read it. If you take a look to the research, it basically suggests that planting trees is by far the biggest and the cheapest way of really tackling the climate crisis that we are living. It's very interesting because they were using artificial intelligence to map out where to plant trees and which kind of trees as well to make the most of them in terms of carbon dioxide offsetting.
So, that's amazing. So, basically, all we need to do is go plant trees, right?
Yes, as simple as that, you see?
Okay, but hold your horses, right? We cannot just
Yeah,
start digging. We need to make sure those trees are planted at the right place and the right time.
sure,
And,
that is true.
and it's also important that our listeners know that at 1 Trillion, we're not just planting the trees, but we support those who plant them. We have projects in Uganda, in Thailand, in Kenya, and we will share more about those stories. Meanwhile, we can share how we identify and support them.
We were thinking there's something that we need to put into our standards in order to better understand how we are going to be supporting one organization or another's.
Which is our scorecard that is based on several steps to evaluate the different tree planting initiatives. Let's explain our listeners what it means.
The scorecard basically has different criteria to make sure that we are working with the best. Four main criteria is transparency, where we really want to make sure that there is a clear communication, trustful relationship, that they can provide proven results, and so on. One of the most important ones that we actually score as double points is the environmental impact and sustainability, because the trees not only can help on the climate crisis or carbon dioxide offsetting, but they are like great way of maintaining the sustainability and biodiversity, and making sure they maintain the local agriculture and fauna and all these kind of things to make sure that is not compromised. Third point or category is land and location. The capacity, basically evaluating the capacity of growing trees without impacting in other existing usage of land, like current local agriculture and so on. And going back to the article from Science, from Crowder Lab, is that there is a global representation in the best located areas, because it's not just planting on one country or another or on one specific area or Amazonas, it's just making sure that we cover the global landscape. And last and not least is the economic and social components, because in the end, the trees can bring much more. It's how they can make a positive impact on local and rural communities, how the local idiosyncrasy and economy is not compromised, but is even fostered and flourish from the activity of growing trees.
I would like to add that we are also supporting communities, because our goal at the end is to make sure that those trees will stay there and stay there forever. And usually, when there is a synergy between the community and the trees, there is more of a chance that it's actually going to happen. Angela, I want to move on. So, what do you think make 1Treellion different than any other organization?
What I would say one of the biggest differentiating factors of 1Treellion versus other similar organization is just the sense of community.
Yes, and there's a few more things that we are different, right? We're not just with the sense of community, we're also trying to be with a positive approach towards climate change and towards the trees. We try to show that there is much, much more to it than just, okay, let's plant trees, or this is the problem with climate change.
Agreed.
In a way, our mission is to plant trees because we see that they're a natural climate solution. It's our conviction that this can be done. We just need to act, right?
Yeah, I can tell you, we don't have that much time. We should have started many, many years ago. This is something that I want to really highlight to whoever is listening to us now, because we need to act now. There's so many different initiatives going on to address the climate change, but with trees, there's nothing else that needs to be proved. It works, and we just need to take action now. Really action driven initiatives and community, we can make this happen.
So, what would you say to the amazing people that are listening to us right now if they want to take action? What can they do?
I would challenge anyone who is listening us to just go back to your memories. Think of those good moments that you had in the recent past or many years ago, and think what were surrounded around, because pretty much you will be surrounded by trees and you will start recalling great moments around them.
This is so true. When I close my eyes, I go back to nature. I see flowers, I see birds, trees, butterflies, not so much cars and concrete. So, what else can people do if they want to take action?
Basically, there are many different ways. We had an ambassador network in the 1Treellion program. You need to go to our 1Treellion.org website, and you'll see join as an ambassador. And that is going to be really helping us to one of the big points of the 1Treellion mission, which is the community. You can help us as like, for instance, using your voice, raising awareness, advocate to expand even the community to a bigger size, and spread the 1Treellion word. Be an advisor, participate in discussions, help us to co-design some of the events or initiatives that we are working on. There are many opportunities. I mean, if you think that you can bring your art, if you can bring any talent that you may have, we can always work together as the 1Treellion community to leverage all those skills that we all have, and think of ideas to raise awareness and to raise money to really help all those planting initiatives on the field.
So, I love that you say that, because at the end of the day, this is our planet and this is where we're living. So, when we are doing something, we're actually doing it for ourselves. I love that you mentioned the ambassadors and the community as a Burning Man member, for me to think of a community is kind of like goes without saying. And we have like our 10 principles that we actually brought to 1 Trillion. We changed them a little bit to define how will you be as a tree lover in the community of 1 Trillion, right? Maybe we can go over them together and share what does it mean to be a member of 1 Trillion.
I think that is actually another differentiating point of what 1 trillion brings to not only trees but to the world. There is a mantra for us, or these core principles that we would like every member of the community to embrace.
And we are starting with believing the trees as the key healers for this world. Be a believer, believe in the trees.
They have been there for years and years, and they have been in silence sometimes without noticing them, but now it's on our hands to bring them back to the front, to make them the main character and work for them.
The second core principle for us is be positive.
For me is really, really important. These days, there are like many people that is furious and anger and pessimistic. And I know that there are so many things going on that are not good, but I think that it's actually with a positive approach when you can address much more and better and achieve much better results. So we prefer to approach our mission from a positive, productive angle instead of from a complaining piece.
What's next?
Be social. In the end, we are going to be here to build a community as well. So socialization will be key, but also be inclusive. We welcome and embrace all kind of thinkers, idiosyncrasy, ethnicities. We are an inclusive community. And I think this is, I don't know if you have the same terminology or not, but I think it's something that is also very common to Burning Man, and to your point, Ali. And be active. That's another one. It can only happen if we take action, but be confident in yourself as well. It starts with us believing on your ability to make the change. We all can be game changers here and demonstrate our potential by volunteering or by joining one cause or one project or another, and really relying on our full potential that we have, but being ambitious as well. We aim high. We dare to dream big. Only if we join forces across the globe and embrace partners and other movements to think big, we will be able to make a much bigger action, or achieve our mission. Because I can tell you that the mission is to plant 1 trillion trees. Every tree counts, but the mission is 1 trillion trees.
That's
And
many trees. That's a
that's
lot of
many
trees.
trees. Another one that I want to emphasize is be apolitical. We all may be supportive of one political party or another, but in the end, we don't want to have the planting trees as part of a political movement or as part of a political program, because in the end political parties change and that project can be deprioritized. So we want to make sure that there is a longevity in those projects. And while it's nice to follow one trend or another, one political party or another, we want to keep this apolitical from a governance perspective.
I would also add that there is nothing political about trees.
There's
They
nothing
just,
political about trees. That's true. Probably is one of the few things in the world
yes.
sometimes. But good point.
What's next?
Be you. We really welcome everyone the way they are. Trees are part of our circle of life and impact on our lives and our animals and every breath that we take. So we ask you to recognize that the trees are part of your story. And last but not least, be cool. We all need to be cool. We all need to be optimistic, and be cool will be critical to cool the earth.
Exactly. So, with that, we're not fighting climate change. Planting all those trees are not going to get the planet to lower the temperature like the Paris Agreement mentioned, but it's allowing us to stop the global warming and get our, I want to say shit together, but maybe I shouldn't say it online.
Come on. We are
So
in
it will allow us to
public.
get, yes, allow us to get our shit together and work on the all the other aspect. But in the meantime, there's this beautiful machine called trees that give us the air we breathe, the food we eat, the shelter, the water, jobs, everything, right? And all that is helpful for that. It's also important that people will know that every dollar we raise goes to planting. And even though we are not planting it ourselves, we are granting organizations based on that scorecard
Mhm.
to plant. All the things that we are doing is we never know how it's going to end, and there are a few butterfly stories that I will share later in different episodes, but are small action, and it can be somebody that you're just saying, okay, I'll just donate $50 for 1 trillion, and that gets 50 trees in the ground, but it also get people to have jobs and to have food. And we're not necessarily always aware of that, but that's like the little butterfly that is what we are doing that makes a bigger change. One question that I have to ask: what's your favorite tree? I know you're in between Spain and Switzerland, so you have a lot to choose from. But
Believe it or not, I love acacias, which is a simple tree,
and why is that?
because I was surrounded by them when I was young in my small village, and it brings me back so good memories.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it shows us that trees has so much in everything we do and every breath we take in every process of our life. Thank you, Angela, for joining me today. This was exciting.
Yes, same for me. Thank you so much, Tali. It was a real pleasure, and let's keep working together.
Yes, let's keep on planting the planet.
Yes.
That's it. Our very first episode of the Butterfly Effect just came to an end. I wanted to thank you for joining me today and say that we are all beautiful butterflies, each in his and her individual ways. Please subscribe to hear more of our stories of change. Take action if you can. And remember, it only takes a small action to make a big difference. Be a butterfly.